In the heat of the day in biblical Palestine, Jesus spoke with, as commonly known, the woman at the well. The story goes that as Jesus was on his way to Galilee, he stopped at a well in Samaria and, being thirsty, asked a Samaritan woman to draw water for him to drink. Shocked by his request, the woman answered, "How is it that you, being a Jew, would speak to me, since Jews have no dealings with Samaritans?" Now, we've all heard the expression, "Funny, you don't look Jewish." Did Jesus look Jewish? Obviously, in some way he did, seeing how the woman responded to his request, having recognized in his features and dialect a Galilean Jew. But what did Jews look like? For the chance observer, it might be something intangible, like Morris Dees, for instance, co-founder of the SPLC, the entity that is reportedly an official flagger of YouTube. Now, in these two pics of Dees, you couldn't really say he looks all that Jewish. In contrast, here's Jonathan Greenblatt of the ADL, the Anti-Defamation League, which also flags for YouTube, who does look kind of Jewish. Nothing wrong with it. Perhaps a distinguishing mark for select providential purposes, since I too look Jewish. Now, some have told me that I look like Rabbi David Weiss of the anti-Zionist group Neturei Karta. Give a look.
Zionism started a mere 100-odd years ago. It is a transformation to nationalism, almost entirely created by non-religious Jews, and they simply ignore the words of the Torah that Jews are forbidden to have their own sovereign state since the destruction of the temple 2,000 years ago. They have no respect for the words of God, the laws of the Torah, which is our covenant with God that says, "Thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not kill."
Well, I kind of look like him. Similar nose, similar manner, I suppose. I know Rabbi Weiss, having met him and debated him regarding the identity of the Messiah as evinced in the Torah. And what we have in common is not only the way we look, but the way we think religiously in some ways. For Jesus himself, whose words I subscribe to, said to the Pharisees upon their rejection of him, "Your house is left unto you desolate." Indeed, soon afterwards the Romans sacked Jerusalem, burned the temple, and deprived Jewry of the Mosaic priesthood and temple worship for good. Now, what does this have to do with the woman at the well? Something at least, or should I say a core component of what today's controversy of the issue of Zionism is all about. For when Jesus told the woman at the well that worshiping God would soon have nothing to do with specific geographical locations, but wherever true believers lived, he chided any kind of nationalism bereft of obedience to God as useless. Just like Rabbi Weiss remarked, today's state of Israel was founded and sustained by secularists who have no respect for the words of God, in his words. Isn't it ironic that when Jews argue that God gave us a land, that when pressed they admit they're either atheists or agnostics? But believe me, there is something mystical in the story of the woman at the well. For upon the woman's shock that Jesus would actually speak to her, he offered living water of a spiritual nature for her to drink. If we're thirsty for something higher and more satisfying than earthly water, it's within our grasp. But some people still just don't get it.